When I open up Excel, I'm meted with a lot of different options. I'm going to ignore most of these options right now, and I'm just going to create a blank workbook. So the very first option I have is for a blank workbook. I'm going to double click it, and I will open an Excel workbook. And when I open up an Excel workbook, you're going to notice a number of things. The first thing, and this is common for all Microsoft Office applications, is that it has this thing called a ribbon. In this ribbon, we have a number of tabs. For example, right now I'm on the Home tab. I could go over to the Insert tab, the Page Layout tab, the Formulas tab, Data, Review, and View. As you notice, when I click through all of these tabs, the ribbon changes dynamically because each of these tabs has a number of functions built into it. So I can use my program quickly and easily by going to each of the logical tabs to try and do what I need to do. So this is how it's arranged. I also have something called a File tab. And when I hit this File tab, and with Excel it's green next to the Home tab, I'll be taken to the backstage view of my program. In here I can do all of the administrative things to my document, such as saving it, doing a save as, printing it, sharing it, closing it, going over the info for the document, going to the options for Excel. All these fun things can be gotten to through the backstage view. I'm not going to do much with that right now, so I'm just going to click this back button up in the upper left hand corner, and I'll be taken back to my workbook, and I'm on the Home tab. Now, since I'm in this particular program, I want to show you a few things. Right now I'm going to go all the way down to the lower right hand corner of my workbook, and you'll notice that I have a few different options here. The first thing you'll notice is that I have a zoom slider. The zoom slider, when I click my mouse and drag and drop it over, will allow me to zoom in and out of my cells in my workbook. So as you can see, as I'm zooming it, you'll notice that it zooms in and out. I can also hit the plus or minus button on here to do that. So I've done that. Additionally, I have three view options. I have page break preview, which will show me my page breaks in case I want to know how something will print. I have my page layout preview, which will show me how it looks for page layout, again, to help me view how it will print. Then I have my normal view, which doesn't have any of those breaks on it, so that it looks like a lot of different cells on there. So I'm going to just stick with my normal view for now. As I move over onto the left side of my workbook, you'll notice that I have something called Sheet 1. This, as I was mentioning before, Excel is arranged in the ledger book analogy. So we're in a workbook and it can have multiple worksheets. I created a new document, so I have one worksheet, but I can also add more by hitting the New Sheet button. I clicked it a couple times, so now I have 3 worksheets. If I right click on those worksheets, I can do a number of things. I can delete them, I can rename them, such as another sheet. I can also do things like change the code, protect the sheet so it can't be changed. I can change the color of the tab that's designating that. In case I need to have the tabs arranged in a few colors, I can hide them, or I can select all sheets inside of the particular workbook. So I've just renamed it and changed the color. And I can go back to sheet 1, and you'll notice that it jumps me to a different sheet. Given that one of my sheets, the second sheet that I created, I did not change my view on. It's still at the default 100%. So it looks smaller than when I jump back to sheet number 1. So I just have used my left mouse button and clicked between the two. So that's our worksheets. I'm going to increase the zoom on this a little bit just for ease of looking at it. I'm going to show you a couple other things I was talking about. As I said before, we have everything in Excel is arranged by columns and by rows. The rows are numbered, the columns are lettered, and my active cell has a border around it. Now, as I said before, if we look at this, we'll notice that our active cell is going to have that green box around it. You'll also notice right above the top left corner of our spreadsheet, you'll notice that we have this little box with our cell address in it. So that's our name box, and it's showing that we're on cell A1. Click to another cell, and now we're on B1, B2, A3, etc. So you can see what the address is right there. A little bit later, I'll tell you we can rename those If we want to, we can create variable names. That's great. Additionally, we can select multiple cells. So you notice that I have a green box around multiple cells. So those are all the active cells in this particular workbook. And as you pay attention, when I'm going to select it again, please pay attention to this name box again. And as I scroll through it, you'll see that it tells me that I'm selecting 11R to 4C and stuff like that to give us a certain name for that particular range that we are selecting. So those are some of the very basics of Excel. Additionally, I have a formula bar up in Excel right here, and the formula bar is where I can make changes to anything I have in my cell. So I'm going to just put in a little bit of information. I'll put in a little text that says my first spreadsheet, and you'll notice when I type it into the cell, it also changes the information in the formula bar. I'll go down to cell A2, my second cell, whatever, and you'll notice that the formula bar changes. If I wanted to change something in the cell, I can merely click on the cell that I want to make the changes to, go over to the formula bar, and make those changes. So instead of spreadsheet, I can type in my first cell. Press enter and it'll jump down to the second spreadsheet cell. To make additional changes, I can also just double click into the cell and make the changes right into the cell. I have those options. So those are the very basics of Excel. We've gone over the tabs in the window. We've gone over the various views that we have. We've gone over the backstage view very briefly. We've mentioned that we have a number of worksheets, how to modify those worksheets, how to input text inside of our cells, where to find the name for our cells, and some of the various views that we have in Excel.